Hey guys, Troy and Tristan here, back with another podcast. We are doing it in person today,
Yes, sir.
live and in person. That YouTube AdSense is hitting different, so we have just a
mansion,
a marvelous studio here. This is a very professional setup. Just wanted to try something new. Hadn't seen each other in a while because I was in the Philippines, and figured if we were going to talk about cards, might as well record it and do it here for you guys. But don't worry, we'll be back to the normal setup as well. We also have Tristan, his most recent pickups that you probably saw there at the beginning of the video. And at the end, we'll open them up and just see what he's been picking up. So look forward to that. We're going to talk about the overall state of the market. Seems like almost everything is going down. Maybe some quick Curry updates. He continues. And then, talk a little bit about my card show experience, which was pretty cool. So, yeah, we'll get into that. But first, the intro.
So I know we're kind of jumping around topics. Troy, you just got back from the Philippines. You went to a really crazy show. Just from the video, I just watched it like an hour or two ago. Go check it out on his main channel. He does a really good job there. But he was standing in line, I think, for over an hour.
Yeah, probably an hour and a half.
And it seemed like people were kind of restless, which is, I mean, it's the vibe we all get, right? With COVID, there's a lot of weird stuff going on. But it's cool to see at least there's some momentum still with cards. Average people, normal people, not just the high rollers in the market. Do you want to talk a little bit about the show and that experience?
Yeah, it was interesting, and we'll kind of get to it later. Like, it seems like the market is like really like cooled off right now. Like, I guess soft is the word. Like, I'm really concerned. But then I went to the show, and it was crazy. Like, so many people there. I mean, kids, a bunch of collectors, like a bunch of collectors there really to enjoy it, which made me hopeful for the state of the hobby. I won't go too far into like my own personal experience, but like there was no AC in there. There wasn't enough space. It was really hot. And for me, like, I know you're not the biggest card show guy. I'm not sure I'm a fan because I really like to like think about the card and browse, and especially with at least the ones I've went to, like they usually don't even have prices there. Yeah. So it's just like
you're on your phone looking up eBay prices.
Yeah, it's just like weird. It's like, hey, hey man, what price is this? Okay.
You kind of just have to take their price. And you don't want to insult them. And this stuff changes regularly. It's hard to do on the fly.
100%. And then like you have guys like also at a show, people will be like, "Oh, I'm not really looking to sell." It's like, well,
why are you here?
Why you have it? We're on eBay. It's for the most part, people seem motivated. I think if you have connections, it's better. Like know certain guys and they know you're good. But if you're just showing up. I mean, especially, I talked about a little bit, the vlogging was absolutely terrible, bro. It's so awkward to be, like, doing all that. But that's my own stuff. But, yeah, no, it was cool to see. Like, it really made me hopeful for where the hobby is going.
100%. The one thing I would say about, like, shows in general, and I've had kind of similar experiences with you. Like, I went when I was early on, didn't have a lot of money, kind of felt out of place. I think like the longer you're in the market, I haven't really even been to another card show since. I really do want to go to like nationals. I know we're talking about maybe going to Dallas, but I think people obviously if they have a table set up, you could be way more comfortable, or just going with someone. It's nice to have like if me and you were there, we could take our time. And you could be like, hey, look, I've just picked up this Chris Bosh. Like there's more interactions as opposed to like you going up to someone you've never met before and then asking him about cards that he might not do a very good job about. Pricing it out. That's one thing it is crazy, but Instagram like continues to be the most successful platform for me. I know I told you that early on. I know you've had some good success with it. I was also listening to the Sports Card Nonsense podcast today, and they had Adam Lefkoe on, and I think he's had a lot of success with that too, and that's a new collector. So I think across the board, it seems to be the strongest. Obviously there's pictures, you can show off pictures. You can get other people on Instagram to testify for you if you're good for the money or not. So that's kind of been my best platform. But I am excited to go to card shows in the future too.
Yeah, it'll be cool. I think also part of it too is like you said, if you don't know the people there, because I think especially like, let's just be honest, there's a lot of new people in the hobby who like aren't the best to deal with. like relationship wise. So like if someone doesn't know you, it almost seems like they're automatically skeptical of you. Like I would even get like, I mean, I don't dress in like Supreme or like I don't think I come across as like a douchebag. At least I hope not. And it almost seemed like when I walked up to people's table, they were like antagonistic against me. Like, oh, all right, what do you want?
You know what it is? It's a 6'5" rule. I think you walk up, you're 6'7", and like, who the hell is this guy?
Who is this guy? But you know, it was cool. Like I said, I really hope Dallas works out. Do you know what it is? That was the last thing I have on card shows. I think if you set up a table, that really makes it worth
100%.
it. That's what I'm hoping to do, as opposed to like, especially where I was, where I'm literally like, I felt like I was at a bar and trying to get attention. I'm like, I'm not.
Can I buy you a drink? And
yeah, seriously.
Look at the Luka too.
Seriously, like I saw, like that's not what I'm looking to do. But once again, to reiterate, it did make me hopeful, and then I'll give card shows another try. I think there'll be more success in the future, especially with those relationships. But going more into what we were talking about, like the state of the market.
Yeah.
I'm a little. I'm not gonna say concerned, but it just seems like things are going down. When everyone was saying like, oh, things are going to go up, you know, the playoffs is right around the corner. People were saying 2 weeks ago, this is your last chance to buy. And I was saying, I didn't know either because I bought, but I was like, I don't think things are going to go exactly how people expect it to go.
I think the one thing I would say is oftentimes like the hype, I mean, this is, everyone knows this, but like the hype outweighs the actual, when it happens. Like a lot of times a player's prices before the series or before the game, or even sometimes before the season, there's all this hype on these players to have a huge third year, and their prices get ran up 2x what they were last year without any games being played. So like you have $1,000 card go up to $2,000 with nothing, just off hype alone. So I think a lot of times it's that. With cards in general, like we're living through a weird time. Like stocks are also kind of high, but they're volatile. It's weird with modern stuff, right? Like Luka's stuff is down, Ja's stuff is down. Zion, I think, is picking up momentum because he's been playing really well. But that Pelicans team is the 11 seed now. I think they're gonna be on the outside looking in. So I think there's a lot of young players that aren't really in great positions. Trae Young is hurt, LaMelo's hurt. It seems like a lot of these modern guys that were really hyped, have other reasons for their prices to have cooled off, in addition to, the high populations. Yeah.
Well, I'm gonna slightly disagree with you a little bit, because I've been hearing that from a lot of people, especially when they're just like, oh, it's just the high pop count garbage. People are just done buying Luka-based Prism. I don't think it's just the high pop stuff. I mean, obviously KD is out right now, but like KD Topps Chrome is down. I think LeBron James Topps Chrome has continued to go down. Luka Prism Silver, I mean, there's a good amount of them, but I don't think anyone thinks that's like mass-produced garbage. I mean, some people do, but I don't think it is. And I always said, like, the thing that would concern me is when I feel like something, like when the market seems to be fighting against the performance. So you talked about the Pelicans a little bit. Sure, they're on the outside looking in right now, but Zion, first player since Jordan, right, to hit, I forget the exact amount of points, but just speaks to what he's been doing lately.
Yeah, can we talk about Zion just for 2 seconds?
Yeah, sure, go ahead.
He can miss, I think, his next 250 shots, and he's still shooting above 50%.
Well, that's what I'm saying. Yeah, he's
nuts.
He's absurd.
I read that stat, and I was blown away.
Yeah, I mean, thanks for sharing it, because I obviously didn't have my stat prepared with whatever he matched Jordan on, but, like, there is no reason. I mean, maybe his cards are flat, but they're definitely not strongly going up, at least right now, and I think they really should be. So that's kind of the thing that was, I guess, concerning to me. It seems like the momentum should be pushing LeBron, Zion, these type of guys, and it's really not.
Yeah. I mean, I don't have the answers. I'm seeing the same stuff you're seeing. With the young players, it makes more sense. With players like LeBron and Durant, the price cool-off doesn't make too much sense. But it just feels like storylines matter so much. Like, that's why Curry prices are pretty strong. And you have other guys that are, not as strong. I don't know. I'm kind of fumbling for words because I don't really know, but I agree there should be some concern. But anytime you have this type of money, like we're not talking about like $100 cards that are now $60. We're talking about like an $8,000 card that's now $6,000 or a $15,000 card that's $12,000. It's tough to find buyers every day that are willing to spend $8,000 on a card. So I think any type of small cool-off, when there is 800 or 1,000 of those cards, in circulation, you're gonna have people that want to sell, and maybe not enough buyers to fulfill that. But it is interesting, and I think it's a little bit worrisome, especially because I think in the off season, I always say this to you, it does seem like stuff goes down. So, we could be at the brink of at least a cool off, that maybe we were due for.
Yeah. Well, I'll give a little bit of a hint for. I'll hold it up here. your pickup that you got. This is someone who I feel like is undervalued right now. And traditionally, he would go down even more in the off season. A lot of these guys, one more hint. I won't give too much away, but like these guys who aren't supposed to make a lot of playoff noise, the belief would be that they'll go down even like huge in the off season. Yeah. But it's like, how much more can they drop? Can they drop? So that's why I'm just saying, like, my whole thing is like, I don't think anyone knows what's going to happen. Like, people are thinking like, oh, no, it's coming. KD and those guys are going to rocket as soon as the playoffs start, and you're going to be able to get these other guys, Luka, even cheaper in the offseason. I'm not sure.
Yeah, and the other thing, like, I think we need to be like wary that this isn't a drop in the sense that this is a drop from like a peak 2 years ago. This is still, like, if you're looking at a graph, it's still like way up. It's just maybe a 10% cool off or 15% cool off, across all the board. And this is after it's gone 2 or 3x. And that's almost every single card. Like the Luka Silver we're talking about was a $1,500 card. Then it jumped to double digits, I think, when they were playing the Clippers last year. So these cards are like more volatile than the normal markets, but I don't think it's not like the bottom's falling out. I just think it's maybe a little bit of a correction.
Yeah, so that leads me into my other question. I was going to say, like, how much stock do you put into, like, the COVID, like, oh, everyone is spending their money on the real world now, so to speak, or vacations, or they're bored of sports cards, they want to do other stuff now. Do you put any stock into that?
I put a little bit of stock. I think it's a combination. I mean, I think in general, when anything's at an all-time high and you have other people just saying it's going to keep getting higher because of playoffs, I'm skeptical. And I think with with normal things heating back up, NFTs are getting momentum. There's a lot of other platforms that have momentum, and stocks are at all-time high. So I think, I think young people are putting their money in different places. Yeah. So that could be part of it. I'm still pretty. I have all my money in cards. You know what I mean? You know that. You know me well. Like I'm still very.
Well, actually, I mean, this is a whole different podcast. But I was just talking today to someone, like, real estate is absurd right now.
Bro. There was a Sacramento property, 200 some odd offers within, I think, 48 hours.
If you offer asking price now,
it's they laugh at you.
Yeah, seriously. Even if you're over like $50K over asking price.
In California, stuff is it's cash offers above, asking. And oftentimes, like, real estate agents will, have asking dropped a little bit. There's other strategies, but it's nuts. And people, this is another podcast too. Maybe we keep it because it's interesting.
No, it's inside baseball.
Home Depot. Plywood, 2x4s, double and triple what it was a year ago.
Yeah, I've heard that.
The cheapest plywood at Home Depot is like $60, and it used to be like $25-$30 a year ago. So it's like building costs. A lot of people are doing that stuff on their own, or I don't even know what it is. I know people are saying it's because of COVID, but I was also talking to a friend that apparently they're making just as much lumber, but it's an excuse for them to make more money. So I don't know. It is kind of nuts though, with real estate popping off. Stocks, at another all-time high. It's interesting. Maybe money is kind of moving elsewhere.
Yeah, this is my last like inside baseball off-topic thing, but I think that a lot of what I'm seeing is like, I just don't think people have faith really in like the American dollar, like how things are going. So in a sense, that is a good thing for sports cards. I think there's something to be said for like everyone is looking at alternative investments right now. Maybe real estate's not really an alternative investment, but basically they don't want to keep their money in the bank anymore, or even just necessarily park it in the stock market.
Yeah.
So yeah, it'll be interesting to see. I don't think it's as simple as, like I said, people saying, oh, everyone's bored of sports cards now, they're going outside. It's just gonna drop. The interesting thing though is like, I'm getting confused because we were talking a little bit before the LeBron sale. What was it?
$5.2 million.
Yeah, $5.2 million
for a 9. A graded 9, not even a 9.5.
So, like, that stuff is on fire. And, like, obviously the high end is always going to do well. At least what I'm concerned about is, like, people are saying, oh, no, that's the high end. And then to talk about soccer just really quickly, like, I have, Messi, Ronaldo rookie cards. Those have went down a ton.
Yeah.
And those are pop, like, what, 200?
Yeah.
So that's what I'm saying. Like, none of it's making sense to me. Like, you can't tell me, like, oh, there's too much supply. That's why it's going down. So that's why I'm confused. Like the high end it seems to be doing well, but even I consider, hey, a Messi rookie card is high end. You can't tell me that's not high end. That stuff is down.
Yeah, I just think like LeBron, like that sale for $5.2 million, it could have been $2.6 million, and we still have the same reaction. that is like a name your price market. It's like it's like a Picasso. Like I just
Yeah.
think those prices, it's almost in a different realm, and that's why I like
Name
that's
your
like,
price is a good point.
and like the super 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 high end stuff like that's untouchable. Like you have people in China, people here, people all over the world will pay whatever top dollar, and especially if they have hundreds of millions in the bank. So I think that's a little bit different than Messi, but I'm super bullish on like Messi, Ronaldo. I only have one soccer card, but it's a nice Messi rookie, and I'm never going to sell it. And I need the money. I'm going to sell cards right now. But I won't sell Messi because I think he feels like he's LeBron to me in terms of the impact he's had. He has. Every young kid playing soccer knows that he's the best player of our generation, maybe the best player ever. So I think those cards aren't going down, especially with you said. I think there's some big tournaments coming up.
Yeah, I mean Barcelona could win the league this year
after a really rocky start.
Yeah. But we're all over the place. But like I said, we're just doing more of a casual one today. But I do want to talk about shifting back. NBA playoffs. Any takeaways from what's been happening in like the last week? Seems like everyone's out, but has your perspective changed on who you think's going to stand out or what teams are going to go?
I'm honestly super excited and curious of how like the Eastern Conference is going to shake out. I don't have a strong. I mean, I think the Nets, if healthy, hot take, the Nets, if healthy, I think will come out of the East, but that's a big if. And I think the Bucks, Drew Holiday. Everyone said the Bucks overpaid for him, and it was a crazy package. And Drew Holiday, why would you ever give up that many draft picks? But him compared to Bledsoe is just it's not even
close.
Not even close. And he's such a nice player at the end of games. I'm watching him close out games on both sides of the ball. To have someone like that next to Giannis, and Middleton, you already have a solid team, and you just added a really good player both ways. So I think. For the playoffs, I'm really excited to see like a healthy LeBron, a healthy Durant, a healthy Steph. Like when's the last time we saw that? When it wasn't Steph and Durant on the same team. So I'm excited for that, and I think, in terms of like relating it to the hobby, I do think we're gonna see. We've already kind of seen the crazy LeBron prices, so I think the Lakers will need to reach the conference finals for the prices to sustain, at least this year. But I don't know. I'm excited, and I kind of feels like I don't know the winner in either conference, really.
Yeah, that's the exciting part, that we don't know like who's going to win. I think anyone's game. I mean, the Lakers I think are a little bit overlooked right now, considering that to me they got to be the strong repeat. I mean, they're the defending champions. The one thing I'm hoping for from like a hobby perspective is I really want to see a young guy break out who people don't. I think that's what it's going to take for people to get excited about Modern again.
Yeah.
Like, I mean, Michael Porter Jr. has just had a career game the other night. I think he had 39. So if he plays well, or I don't even know. That's the tough thing.
Booker. I mean, there's a lot of there are young guys.
Booker's but no, not even. I mean, Booker. Yes, I want someone like I need. Not
Trae Young.
I want a Tyler Hero type guy to come out of nowhere, and for everyone to be like, "Oh, I can't believe we let all these young guys. I should have just bought it for $20. It was so cheap. It would have been worth the risk." And then I think that's really gonna ignite things, because right now, like, I think what's missing is like no one's like keen on speculating right now. Like, no one. What are you gonna speculate on?
It seems like there's an overcorrection. I think people were very speculation heavy, and then all of a sudden people are buying Allen Iverson. I'm hearing about Shaq and all these legends, which maybe for a good reason. Maybe people were buying that because they were underpriced. I think that's what it was.
Mm-hmm.
So now it might have flipped the other way, where now there's young guys that have a lot of, like Tatum is still in that category, right? Like
but his stuff has gone down so much. That's
way
what
down,
I'm saying.
way down. So I think you've got some people. It's just tough this year where most of the good teams have the established guys.
Yeah, that's true.
Besides the Jazz with Mitchell, but he got hurt. There really has been a lot of injuries, and I think that has to be looked at as part of it. You have the most exciting rookie get hurt, LeBron get hurt, Durant get hurt, Mitchell got hurt. There's just a lot of guys that have been out. So I think that's part of it. But we will see some prices heating up in the playoffs. I promise. I mean, I've been collecting for 5 years, and I've seen it every single year. So I think that's going to happen again, and it's just a matter of predicting the right guys and buying at the right time.
Yeah, I hope so, and I think you're right. The one other thing I'll say that kind of like gives me hope is what's happening with football cards right now. I think you have a little Lamar Jackson. We're all over the sports, but maybe people enjoy it. Lamar Jackson is up like 60% or something, like pretty crazy. A lot of I was even looking at Saquon Barkley charts just for fun. Those are going up, so it shows me like that demand is there.
Yeah.
And also the other thing is like everyone, oh my God, the COVID days. I feel like there's more people in the hobby right now.
Yeah.
Like it's totally anecdotal. Like I don't have any data to support that, but it's like when that rise happens, like there's a lot of buyers out there ready to buy, and that's what we're seeing in football. So like it's just when is that moment going to be in basketball? I guess.
I just think, dude, the new shiny toy in this market has always been the thing, even since I started collecting. Like now, football hasn't really happened yet. You have the preseason hype. Mahomes' prices are already up, like higher than they were when they dropped. So there's a lot of hype. It's a hype-driven market, and there's nothing else I could say. I have no other good explanation for why Lamar Jackson is up, but these other guys, Tatum isn't up, or these other guys in the NBA playing well.
Yeah.
So it is tough, but I think we'll see. I know we'll see some run-ups, and I'm excited for that. What's your kind of just quick NBA thing? Who are your two teams out of each conference?
I mean, yeah, like I mentioned, the Lakers I think are overlooked. I think the Mavericks actually have a chance to surprise some people. In the East, I think literally no one is talking about Giannis. I can't remember the last time I heard his name. Like I think the Bucks, like you mentioned, Drew Holiday, and then I don't know. I was like always the Heat. I've kind of given up on them, to be honest.
They had a season from hell.
I'm not very hopeful on the Sixers for some reason. Like I just don't consider them true contenders. So I guess that'd be like my one takeaway from the East. But only time will tell. And lastly, we don't really have any user submitted questions this time, but always feel free to drop them down below, and we'll make sure to answer them. So we're going to kind of do like an FAQ type one. When is the time to sell? We talked about playoffs coming up. When is the time to sell, and also how do you sell? What do you think is the best route?
I talked about it a little bit earlier, but let's get into if we go into actual detail, because I know people are oftentimes they buy cards. It's easier to buy than sell always. 100%. That's like the first thing I would say, and you have to know that getting into it. There's it may take a week, it may take a month, you may not get the exact price you were hoping for. What I've found is the best time to sell if you need the money is going to be like before the playoffs, before a big game. There's got to be a reason for that player to have some hype. Even Trae Young coming back from injury, maybe there's some hype there, or going into the off season if you can wait. I know there's going to be hype about these young players. That's kind of a good transition into this. But like I'm picking up a player that's pretty cheap right now. But like this is I think
Yeah. Well, why don't we just get into it?
But I guess what I would say is oftentimes sell before you think it's the time. It's kind of stupid, but sell before you think it's a time to sell. A lot of times, you don't want to get caught holding the bag, and I know prices drop very quickly. So if you've seen a price run up on a player or a card you have, if you need the money, it's a good time to capitalize.
Yeah. I mean, that's a quick thing I have before you get into that. Like, I've learned more than ever, don't be afraid to take your profits. Especially, like, some of these cards, they go up 3x. Like, just to do a quick soccer example that maybe people can't relate to, but Haaland, right? People are like, how can you sell Haaland? He's the future. And I really think he is. But he went up, like, 4 or 5x. And people are like, I can't sell. It's Haaland.
Yeah.
Crashed.
Yeah.
Like, basically down back to where he was. So.
And he's still playing well.
Yeah. I mean, they did get knocked out, but it's not a performance-based thing. Right. I'll say that, why he dropped so much. So. Yeah, something to consider. I think during the playoffs, I think there will be profits to be had, and you just got to sell when you're comfortable. That's really how I feel. We need to send you to Sports Card YouTube or boot camp or something.
I think so. No, the packaging and shipping is easy, but
Painter's tape, people. Painter's tape, please.
They take the actual card.
Yeah.
But
here we go.
It's worth it in the end.
All right.
Who do we got here?
Oh,
my guy. No, I know it's backwards. I'm showing him the back.
SGA.
3 of them.
Let's see. Let's get a little. There we go. A little tap. It's clean.
3 of those boys. I think there's only 400 of these compared to like thousands.
Those are tough grade
for a lot
SGA,
of his
SGA
counterpart. Yeah. All right. So that's that. I think I got these a couple weeks ago. Adding to the stack. I know I kind of am a broken record.
You tell us what you're thinking with these right here.
So first of all, like the fact that there's less than 500 for a modern player is strong.
Uh-huh.
Also, 24 points, 6 assists, 5 boards, and he was like 50%, 40%, 80%.
Yeah.
Super promising player on a terrible team. Had the ball in his hands a lot. Could have easily been inefficient, and this is coming from like an SGA skeptic going into the year. Like I know I was playing fantasy basketball, and my friend drafted him pretty high, and I was super out on him. I saw him not perform very well in the playoffs, I did a full 180 on him. I just think, to be 6'6", with a handle, can play defense,
Really
shooting the
high
three
IQ.
ball well, high IQ. I think his game is going to age well, and I just think he's scratching the surface. And I think the other thing is I actually kind of believe in the Thunder. I believe in that GM. I think they're going to, they have hundreds of draft picks. It's a meme how many draft picks they have. So I'm a believer in Shea and, the Thunder long term, and I think, the year he's had is getting overlooked. So I think
He really
definitely a good time.
upped his production. So if you don't mind me asking, how much did he set you back?
11 each. 1,100 each. I paid pretty strong. That's actually honestly the going price for them right now.
Yeah.
That's what they've ended for on eBay. I wouldn't be surprised if they're down to 1,000 now. It is what it is. Sometimes I want to have more of them, and there's not that many. So I want to get my hands on more of these, and I'm a big Shea believer. But yeah, 1,100 each.
Yeah, I think at that price, it's worth the risk. Another thing I'm considering, speaking of changing your mind on people, I was the biggest Darius Garland hater in the world. And I think I did prove to be right. What happened with this price is how far they came down. But some of these guys, it's just so cheap. Prism Silver PSA 9 is in, what is it, probably $80 right now, $75.
Yeah.
Just taking a chance on them. So that's, like I said, that's kind of my, big thing is, I think some of these modern guys, I think we have overcorrected too far in the other direction. So I think it's kind of worth the risk.
Yeah, and every player has their their moment in the sun. Tyler Hero last year is a good example, and you made some good money on that, and that's just you were patient though, because you could have cashed out when you had a silver 10. You could have cashed out at a certain point, and you held until pretty much his peak. And I like Tyler Hero, but that example, you do too. But that's a perfect a small little example of buying a player and then selling at the right time. You can do well.
That's the biggest thing I learned, and maybe what I'll leave us with here. I just sold an RJ Barrett, literally just a Donruss Orange Laser PSA 9, $120 that I bought for $40.
Nice.
Not really any reason. His market's not really up much from when I bought it.
It should be more. Should even be higher.
It should be more,
thing.
But especially that's a small. Do you know why I bought that? Because I was this is the type of card where even though it's not a rare card or a super valuable card, there's not going to be 100 on eBay at a time. So especially if you get into the slightly more higher end world, or just stuff that's different that you don't see any day, all it takes is one buyer. You leave it there, and then they come along, and then that's it right there. So.
That one's kind of cool because it's the orange, and they got
exactly. That's what I was thinking. It was literally $40, and it's orange in a PSA 9 case. I was you know what? I'll take a chance on this, and then see what happens. That's the other thing, and I'm getting all over the place now, but I would say don't try to change the market to what you think, and I still feel that way, but I think there's something to be said for following your gut, because my gut was Prism base. Why is this worth so much? I really don't think it should be, but I didn't follow my gut. I was well, the market, they say Prism base is the thing to have. It appreciates the most, and then we see what happened.
Yeah, you get caught holding the bag because you're paying $800 for a card that has 2,000 of them in circulation. The pop does matter, but that's cool that you did well in the RJ Barrett, and he's another example of a young player that if the Knicks are good in 2 or 3 years in New York, and he's as good, he's got upside. I don't know what he's gonna be because he is inefficient, and I watch games where he'll go 4 of 16, but that's an exciting player that could easily double from where he is now.
Definitely. Well, glad we were able to end on a slightly more hopeful note. Thank you guys for watching. Let us know, just appreciate you. Maybe if you didn't like it, appreciate you bearing with us trying this live.
Thanks for sticking through all. We were all over the place. We're just throwing darts today.
we want to, if I've learned anything from my YouTube career, it's try different things and, see what we can always change back or change to something different. So hope you guys enjoyed. We'll be back with the podcast soon.
And drop questions for us below.
Yep. Like and subscribe. We'll see you guys next time.
Right on. Thanks, guys.
Peace.